You know what's funny? When your whole damn family acts like you're being dramatic. When all you did was say no to being their freaking ATM. I'm Claire, 32. I work in data analytics in Seattle, rent a small but overpriced apartment, and spend my nights binging weird true crime podcasts while making spreadsheets like a nerd. I'm also the oldest in my family, not that anyone ever gave a shit about that. Anyway, let me take you back a bit. A year ago, my younger brother Logan got engaged to Sierra. She's one of those shiny people who looks like she came straight out of a Pinterest board, long blonde hair, filtered voice, and somehow, always in perfect lighting, influencer, if that tells you enough. Like, hey fam, here's my skincare routine and positive energy mantra kind of influencer. God, I tried to like her. My family owns a local coffee chain in Oregon. We're not Starbucks, but we've been around for over 2 decades and people know us. My parents, Susan and Dean, have worked their asses off for that business. And so did I. Summers spent scrubbing counters, helping with accounting, designing the first POS system, while Logan was off finding himself in Bali or some crap. When Grandpa passed away 5 years ago, he left me a majority share of the company through a trust, not cash shares, with conditions. I can't touch them fully until I'm 35 unless I propose a community impact business expansion plan. Grandpa always said, don't give the golden goose to someone who just wants eggs Benedict. It was his weird way of saying, don't let your brother screw this up. I didn't think much of it back then. I had a decent job, steady pay, and honestly, I just wanted to do my own thing. But lately I've been thinking maybe he was onto something, because then came Sierra. Last fall, family dinner. Sierra brings out a damn Pinterest board on her iPad mid-dessert. Logan and I were thinking, wouldn't it be so meaningful if the wedding was sponsored by family love, like Claire's shares could support the future of this family in a really intentional way? I literally choked on my wine, shares the trust fund. Grandpa left me that I can't even access yet. I laughed, awkwardly, thought she was joking. She wasn't. My parents just looked at each other. Then my mom smiled like someone had offered her a discount at Whole Foods. It would be symbolic. I remember staring at Logan, waiting for him to say something. He didn't. Just looked down at his goddamn kombucha. 2 weeks later, group text from my mom. Claire, can you come home next weekend? We'd love to talk over some family ideas. Bring your financial planner if you want. Excuse me, my what? I show the text to my best friend Maya, and she just goes, girl, that's a setup. She was right. I walked into my parents' house that Saturday, and boom, Logan and Sierra were already there, grinning like they'd just won The Bachelor. There were folders. My dad even had a freaking printed slide deck with bullet points, potential ways Claire's trust can support the family legacy. Are you kidding me? Sierra goes, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, obviously. Just enough to help us put down roots. Maybe buy a space in Sedona. Build something that honors your grandfather's memory. I said no. They looked confused, like I'd misheard the question. No, I repeated. I'm not giving up my shares. They're not even accessible yet. And even if they were, that's not what they're for. Logan. He sighs dramatically, rubs his temples like I'm the unreasonable one. Sierra smiles and says, that's disappointing. Claire, we thought you'd want to be part of our beginning. Last winter, things got quiet after that, too quiet. Until I started getting texts from cousins I hadn't spoken to in months. Hey, is it true you're refusing to help Logan with the wedding? That sucks, man. You know your grandpa would have wanted you to support family. WTF. Then I found out Sierra had started talking, twisting the story into some selfish sisterhood's legacy narrative. Logan, of course, backed her up. I tried to talk to my parents. Mom, why aren't you telling people the truth? She sighs like she's exhausted from dealing with my boundaries. Claire, you've always had more stability. Logan needs this. Sierra's right, it's about legacy. I was stunned. This was the same woman who once made me return a $12 shirt because we don't spend frivolously. This morning, Maya sent me a link. Sierra had gone live on Instagram, crying actual tears, talking about how some people in the family just don't believe in supporting love. There were subtle jabs. Some people only care about control and money. Her followers were eating it up. I texted Logan, "You guys need to stop." He replied, "You brought this on yourself. You're in a position to help. Why wouldn't you?" I stared at the screen for a full minute before throwing my phone across the room. I'm done being the nice one, the quiet one, the responsible one who gets screwed over because she doesn't want to start drama. No more. Last weekend, I went back to Portland. I hadn't been home in months. But my mom guilt-tripped me with "it's just dinner," and Logan's been trying really hard to reconnect. I knew it was bullshit. But part of me wanted to see just how far they'd go. Spoiler, they went way further than I ever expected. The minute I walked in, I could feel it, that fake peace. Too many polite smiles. My mom hugged me like we hadn't had multiple screaming matches over the phone. My dad awkwardly patted my shoulder. Logan looked smug as hell. And Sierra She greeted me with that influencer voice like nothing happened. "Claire, oh my god, and then he's... You look amazing. Are those new boots? You always have such timeless taste." I gave her a look and mumbled, "They're from Target." She laughed like I'd said something clever. I wasn't joking. Dinner started normal enough. Salad, pasta, Sierra talking about her wedding vision board like it was a business pitch. "We're thinking desert tones, but not too boho. And the ceremony will be streamed live for our followers." I was 2 bites into my garlic bread when my dad cleared his throat and said, "We actually wanted to talk about something important tonight. As a family, here it comes." He looked at me directly. "Claire, we know things have been tense, and that's not what anyone wants. We just think maybe there's room for compromise." I didn't respond, just kept chewing slowly, trying to figure out how far they were about to push. Sierra leaned in, her smile doing that thing where it got tighter the more controlling she got. "We know the trust isn't technically available yet, but if you proposed a joint venture, maybe framed it as a community business initiative, you could access a portion, just a percentage. Nothing crazy." Logan nodded like this was a well-reasoned, legally sound idea. It could help us secure the venue before someone else books it, and you'd still have most of it for your own plans. I set my fork down. "Let me get this straight." I said, "You want me to build a fake community project, to access money early, to help fund your Instagram wedding." They flinched at fake. My mom tried to cut in, "Sweetheart, it's not fake, it's strategic." "Strategic," I snapped. "You raised me better than that. Or maybe not. Actually, maybe you raised me to clean up after Logan, while he got to screw up with no consequences." Silence. Logan looked away. Sierra blinked rapidly, like she was rehearsing which emotion to perform next. "I worked for those shares." I continued. "I stayed up nights redoing your books. I streamlined your supply chain. I didn't get free passes or last-minute bailouts. Grandpa saw that. That's why he left them to me." My dad finally spoke, his voice low. "Claire, no one's saying you didn't earn them, but Logan is family. He's your brother, and I'm your daughter," I said, but somehow that part keeps getting lost. I left before dessert. The next day, Logan texted me an apology. It was 3 lines long, and it ended with, "I just wish you'd think about what family really means." What it meant to him, apparently, it meant I owed him something. I didn't reply. Then things escalated. Monday morning, I got a call from HR. "Hey Claire, just a heads up. Someone called pretending to be a family member. They were asking about your salary and trying to get financial details." My stomach dropped. Did they give a name? They said they were your sister-in-law, but the number wasn't verified, so we shut it down. I knew it was Sierra. No hesitation. That night, I checked my DMs. Sure enough, multiple burner accounts messaging me, saying things like, "Money means nothing without love. Family always comes first. You're the reason your brother is stressed out." Creepy and weirdly poetic, which screamed Sierra. I screenshotted everything, started a folder, then I called a lawyer. She was calm, direct, and absolutely not playing around. Do not respond to them directly anymore, and start documenting everything. The texts, the calls, the social media posts, especially anything vague but clearly about you. I did exactly that. I pulled every text from Logan and Sierra over the past 6 months. Every backhanded comment, every just a thought guilt trip, every subtle threat about hurting the family legacy. But nothing prepared me for what came next. Thursday morning, I got an invite to a family Zoom. Subject line, conflict resolution. I swear, I laughed out loud, but I joined. I wanted to see what angle they'd try now. The screen loaded Mom, Dad, Logan, Sierra, all looking like they were about to conduct a company merger. My dad kicked it off with, "Claire, we just want to create harmony. We're hoping we can all agree on a path forward." Mom added, "We were thinking maybe a small portion of the trust, even just enough to help with a down payment on a house, could go a long way in healing this tension." Sierra jumped in. "It's not about the money, Claire. It's about unity." Logan, looking exhausted, mumbled, "We just want to move forward." I stared at them all. Then I opened my screen share. "Okay," I said, "since we're being honest, here's what I've been collecting." I pulled up a folder labeled Timeline of Manipulation. Slides, dates, screenshots, messages. That HR incident, Sierra's passive-aggressive posts, the burner messages, even the damn Pinterest board from the wedding meeting, where she had listed my trust as potential funding source. Their faces changed fast. Sierra went pale. My mom gasped. Logan looked like he'd just watched someone light his favorite hoodie on fire. "This is harassment," I said calmly. "And if it doesn't stop, I will take legal action. This isn't a joke anymore. I've been patient. I've been kind. But I'm not stupid." Dead silence. Then Sierra said the wildest thing I've ever heard. "So what, Claire, you're going to sue your own family?" I stared into the camera. "I'm not suing anyone." I said, "But I am protecting myself. And if that means cutting ties with people who think I'm a bank account with feelings, so be it." I clicked leave meeting. I haven't spoken to them since... But Maya texted me last night. Apparently. Sierra posted a cryptic reel about betrayal from those closest to you, and when the one you needed most turns out to be your biggest enemy. Comments were full of "spill the tea," and you don't need that kind of negativity. One person, someone named it coffee_truth, commented, "Sounds like you expected someone else's legacy to pay for your lifestyle." That's not betrayal. That's boundaries. I didn't write it, but damn, I wish I had. 2 days after that Zoom call disaster, I did something I never thought I'd do. I sent a cease and desist letter to my brother's fiancée. Not even kidding. Typed up by my lawyer, printed on actual letterhead, and delivered with tracking. It outlined every incident, the repeated emotional pressure, the unauthorized attempt to access my employment info, the burner messages, and the social media slander. The final line basically said, "Cut the crap, or we escalate this legally." I sent a copy to Logan, too, because even if he didn't start it, he sure as hell stood by and watched it happen. The fallout was instant. Logan called me within the hour. "Claire, what the hell is this illegal letter to Sierra? Are you serious right now?" "Dead serious. She's been harassing me." "Logan," I said, "for months. You've enabled it, and now you're shocked that I'm setting boundaries." She's stressed. The wedding's falling apart. She feels attacked. And you're making it worse by turning this into some courtroom drama. I laughed. For real, I actually laughed. "Turning this into drama, your fiancé tried to dig into my finances and blast me on social media like I'm the villain for not giving up a trust fund I legally can't touch. She turned this into drama. Logan..." I'm just refusing to play nice about it anymore. He didn't respond right away. I could hear him breathing. That awkward, panicked silence when you realize you're in way over your head. Then he said something I'll never forget. She just wanted to feel like part of the family. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I said, then maybe she shouldn't have treated me like a wallet. Click. I ended the call. Over the next few days, the noise quieted down. No texts, no calls. Sierra went dark on Instagram. No vague stories. No posts about toxic energy. Just silence. It should have felt like relief, but it didn't. Not yet, because part of me kept waiting for the next hit, the next emotional landmine. And it came 3 days later. A family group text one that included my parents, Logan, and a few cousins. At 7:42 p.m., Logan sent a message he meant to forward privately to Sierra. But instead, he sent it to all of us. The message said, I found the screenshots. She's been bragging to her friends that she's gonna secure the bag once Mom and Dad wear Claire down. This is insane. And then, like he knew he screwed up, he followed it up immediately with, wait, ignore that. Not meant for here. Too late. I didn't even have to respond. One of my cousins, Alicia, dropped a simple emoji. My dad replied, Logan, please explain. And then came the receipts. Screenshots. Texts from Sierra to her friends. Trust me, I'll get at least half. Her parents will cave. They always do. Claire's stubborn, but she wants to keep the peace. She'll crack eventually. Worst case, I leak something about her. People eat that stuff up. I just sat there, staring at my screen, mouth slightly open, heart pounding. Not because I was shocked I wasn't, but because finally, someone other than me was seeing her for who she really was. That night, I didn't say a word in the group chat. I didn't need to. The whole thing lit up like fireworks. My mom was devastated. Sierra. Is this true? Logan didn't reply again. And Sierra nothing, just vanished. 2 days later, Logan showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find him standing there with a paper bag and eyes that looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. Is that Thai food? I asked. He nodded. Your favorite? Spicy noodles? I thought, maybe we could talk. I let him in, sat across from him while he fumbled with the containers and avoided eye contact. I didn't know she was like that, he said finally. I mean, I knew she was ambitious, but I thought it was just surface-level stuff. Instagram hustle, you know. She tried to ruin my reputation. Logan. I know, he whispered. I'm sorry. I stared at him for a second. He looked different. Smaller, somehow, like the shine had finally worn off. I didn't just let her do it, he continued. I believed her. I thought you were being dramatic, and I'm so sorry for that. I didn't cry. I didn't forgive him. Not right away. But I didn't kick him out either. We ate in silence for a while, until he asked, Do you think I'm like her? And I said, I think you wanted her to be someone she's not, and you ignored a lot of red flags because it was easier than facing the truth. He nodded. She's gone, as by the way, took her stuff and left. Canceled the wedding. Good. I didn't say it, but I felt it. The next week, my mom called. Twice. I didn't pick up. Eventually, she left a voicemail. Her voice was tired, softer than usual. I'm sorry, honey. I really am. I thought I was being fair. I thought if I could just keep everyone happy, we'd get through this. I didn't realize how badly you were being treated. I should have listened. I should have protected you, too. I replayed that message 4 times. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Things are still weird. Family dinners aren't happening anytime soon. Sierra's off the grid, or more likely rebranding on TikTok under a new username. Logan's in therapy. My parents are trying to make things right. Slowly. Baby steps. But me, I'm moving. I gave notice at my job, took a remote contract gig with better pay and fewer politics. And I'm using my time to draft a real proposal for Grandpa's Trust. A tech-driven community cafe incubator spaces where women like me can co-work, run passion projects, and learn basic financial literacy. The kind of space where no one calls you selfish for having boundaries. Because screw the idea that being a good daughter means being a doormat. Screw being polite when people are manipulating you in high def. Screw smiling through guilt trips and letting people think they can weaponize family to get what they want. You know what family really is. Respect, accountability, showing up even when it's uncomfortable. And if you can't give that, then you don't deserve a seat at my table. Last Friday, I did something I never imagined I'd do. I hosted a dinner. In my apartment, my tiny, barely fits 4 people, open concept apartment. And you know what? It was perfect. There was no Logan, no Sierra, no staged apologies or guilt-trippy passive-aggressive parents, just Maya, Alicia, and a couple of friends who've actually had my back through this whole circus. The kind of people who never asked, "But can't you just give a little, or is it really worth the drama?" I made pasta. We drank too much wine. At one point, Maya screamed laughing because I told the story about the secure the bag screenshot again, apparently. It's her favorite thing now. She said, "Claire, you literally caught a con artist mid-scam, and your family tried to call you the problem. I still can't." We toasted to bags that stay secured, and that was the first time in months I felt like I was fully breathing. After everyone left, I sat on the floor with a glass of cheap rosé, staring at my ceiling, thinking, how did it get this far? And then I remembered, it got this far because I kept giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. She's just stressed, and he doesn't mean it become a pattern. I let people treat me like a resource instead of a person, but not anymore. Earlier that week, I had finally submitted my formal proposal for the trust. And no, not some fake wedding fun nonsense wrapped in buzzwords. A real project. A brick-and-mortar co-working cafe hybrid, part coffee shop, part startup incubator, part crash course for women who want to escape shitty jobs or shitty men. I'm calling it third rail, after the part of a train track that carries electricity. Because women like us, we're the current. We just haven't always had the space to plug in. My lawyer looked over the paperwork and said it was solid. She smiled and said, "Your grandpa would be proud." And honestly, I almost cried. But I didn't. I had emails to send. Tuesday. Logan texted again, just to check in. No drama. "Hey, hope you're good. Started therapy like you suggested. It's brutal, but necessary." I didn't ignore him. I just said, "Glad to hear it. Keep doing the work." Because I'm not heartless, but I'm also not here to babysit someone into decency. Then, Thursday, the thing that really kicked me in the teeth. I was at work, halfway through a project pitch, when I got an email notification from my mom. Subject, can we talk? The body of the email. "Hi, sweetheart. I've been reflecting a lot. I'd really like to meet you for coffee. Just us. No expectations, no agenda. Please let me know. Love, Mom." I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wanted to delete it. Another part wanted to say yes just to see what bullshit excuse she'd come up with this time. But the part of me that still hoped, that part hit reply and typed. "Tomorrow, 11 a.m., that little cafe on Belmont you used to like. But if this turns into any kind of pressure campaign, I'm walking out." "Clear," she replied with a thumbs up emoji. Friday morning, I showed up early. I ordered a chai latte and sat by the window, scrolling my phone and mentally rehearsing every boundary I was going to enforce. No guilt, no gaslighting, no family-first speeches. If she pulled any of that, I was gone. My mom showed up 5 minutes late. No makeup, hair pulled back in one of those old claw clips she used to wear when we'd bake together. She looked tired, like the past few weeks had aged her a bit. She hugged me gently and sat down without saying a word. Then, after a pause, she said, "I read your proposal." I blinked. "What?" "The cafe thing. Third rail. Your dad forwarded it to me. Said he found it in the email chain you CC'd the lawyer on." My stomach flipped. I hadn't even considered they'd read it. She took a sip of coffee and added, "It's brilliant. I didn't know you were thinking so big." I didn't know how to respond. For the first time in this whole mess, she looked genuinely small. Not manipulative, not defensive, just unsure. "I'm sorry," she said, "for all of it, for pressuring you, for siding with Logan and Sierra, for not hearing you until it was too late. I waited. She continued, I thought I was keeping the family together, but what I was really doing was enabling people who made you feel like an outsider. And that's on me. Now I really didn't know what to say. I guess I got used to you being the one who handled everything, she said. You were always the steady one, the problem solver, and when Logan needed something, it was easier to ask you than to ask him to grow up. That one hit hard. I finally spoke. It wasn't just easier. You expected it. You raised me to think that being strong meant being silent, that saying no made me selfish. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I know, and I'm sorry. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said something that actually made me believe her. You don't owe me anything, Claire. Not forgiveness, not a second chance, but I want to be better. I want to earn back the relationship, not assume it. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in a long, long time, she felt like my mom again. I didn't hug her. I didn't say I forgive you. But I said, that's a start. That night, I journaled for the first time in months. Wrote down everything the meeting, the feelings, the relief, the hesitation. And then I wrote this line. Healing doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means accepting what did, and deciding it won't define me anymore. It's not a tattoo idea yet, but damn if it didn't hit. I'm still cautious, still guarded, but something shifted. My family might be rebuilding slowly, in pieces, like a house after a storm. Some beams still cracked, some windows blown out. But the foundation, that's me now. Not Sierra, not Logan, not guilt or tradition or expectation. Just me. And I'm finally okay with that. Last week, something wild happened. I got a DM from a journalist. Yep. An actual journalist freelance, works with a few mid-sized digital outlets. She said she'd come across a Reddit thread, that Reddit thread. And after going down a rabbit hole, she wanted to talk. Said she was doing a piece on financial coercion in families, especially around inheritance and trust funds. Apparently, this stuff happens more than people think. It just doesn't get talked about much. I stared at the message for a solid 10 minutes. Then I texted Maya WTF, a journalist. She replied, Girl, your story is a damn documentary. I'm surprised Netflix hasn't called. I wasn't sure at first. I didn't want to air my family's mess on the internet again, but something about the message stuck with me. It wasn't nosy or gossipy. It felt purposeful. So I replied. We met at a small cafe downtown, neutral territory. I wore my don't talk to me unless I'm caffeinated sweatshirt just to establish the vibe. Her name was Jenna, late 30s, sharp eyes, kind smile, absolutely zero bullshit. She ordered an oat milk latte and said, Off the record until you say otherwise. Okay, I nodded. We talked for 2 hours. I told her everything, the pressure, the guilt, the manipulation, disguised as love. How my family tried to paint me as selfish for not handing over money I didn't even have access to. How Sierra basically launched a whisper campaign. How I almost believed them, almost caved. Jenna listened the entire time, barely interrupting, just scribbling notes. Then, when I finished, she looked at me and said, You know, this happens all the time, especially to women labeled responsible or the good kid. People weaponize that label so you'll sacrifice yourself to keep the peace. I blinked. Hard. She asked if I'd be willing to go on record anonymously. Change names, change locations, but keep the truth. I agreed. Because screw it. If my nightmare could help someone else dodge the same mess, why not? 3 days later, the article went live. Title, When Family Becomes Financial Pressure, the Silent Epidemic No One Talks About. I read it 4 times, then once more just to cry. It was surreal, seeing my story reframed through someone else's lens. Not just messy family drama, but a real example of financial abuse. Coercion. The psychological wear and tear that comes with being the reliable one. The article didn't name me, obviously, but if you knew, you knew. And people did know. I got DMs, emails, comments, dozens of women and some men messaging me like, "Oh my God, this is my life right now. My parents are trying to guilt me into co-signing my brother's second mortgage. I thought I was crazy for not wanting to dip into my savings for my cousin's wedding. Thank you for speaking up. I didn't even realize what was happening to me until I read this. I was floored." Maya came over that night with cupcakes and wine, and we sat on my floor reading every single message. You started a conversation, she said, a real one, not just some petty Reddit vent, like, this could help people. And that's when it hit me. I hadn't just survived something awful, I'd transformed it into something bigger, something useful. For the first time, I didn't feel ashamed, I felt powerful. Meanwhile, Logan texted me a screenshot. It was Sierra. She'd posted a cryptic Instagram story saying, "Funny how people twist the truth for clout. Real ones know." He captioned it, "I blocked her after this. Thought you'd want to see the final drama drop." I just heart reacted, because honestly, that wasn't even a blip on my radar anymore. Sierra had burned every bridge in my family. Most people were done with her. Even her own bridesmaids group chat disbanded. Alicia told me the vibe was immaculate justice. And her big Instagram wedding dream totally dead. Turns out she'd put down deposits banking on my trust fund. After that fell apart. So did the bookings. Venue gone. Photographer ghosted. Her dream dress returned. The ironic part, all that scheming, all that manipulation, and she ended up right back where she started. Only now, everyone saw her for who she really was. Back to me. Third rail, my business idea got the green light. The trust approved it after a review process. My lawyer called and said, "Congrats. Claire, your grandpa's trust is officially backing your vision." I burst into tears in the middle of the grocery store. And I never cry in public, like ever. This meant I could finally start building what I'd been dreaming about for years. A space for women like me, tired, responsible, silenced women to have a voice, a seat at the table, hell, their own table. We're opening the first location next year. I've already got community grants lined up. A couple of investors have even reached out after reading the article. And I'm going to make sure every inch of that space radiates exactly what I never had growing up: safety, agency, support. I visited my parents a few days ago. It was awkward, quiet, but calm. My dad cooked pasta and avoided eye contact most of the night. My mom tried to ask questions about the business. And for once, she didn't talk over me. Before I left, she gave me a hug and said, "I'm really proud of you." I didn't say anything. Not out of spite. I just wasn't ready to trust it yet. And that's okay. Later that night, Logan sent one last message. "You didn't just protect yourself. You broke the cycle." I see that now. I stared at it for a while. Then I typed, "So do something with that. Don't just say it." Because I don't need more apologies. I need changed behavior. Right now, I'm sitting on my couch, wine in hand, music low, working on the branding deck for Third Rail. And you know what? For the first time in a long-ass time, I feel free. Not because I won. Not because Sierra lost, but because I chose myself unapologetically, loudly, and with receipts. Because I said no, because I stood my ground even when everyone made me feel crazy for doing it. And because I finally realized being the responsible one doesn't mean being the sacrificial one.